Okay, what you're doing is, like I said, when the defendant has no rights. You can have rights if the prosecutor wrote it into the script. Because when you go on to court, you're basically going on to a stage. And whatever law establishes your rights, or what you can and cannot say, or what you can and cannot do, that's the law that you're moving under, is who brought the law into the court. Now, if it's under an administrative code, well, obviously you can't use the Constitution of Mexico, Canada, or the United States. You can't use anything because you're operating under a code. In the United States, there's an written in code, so don't bring this code in. Or if you're there to deal with an administrative code for, say, family law, you can't bring code that has to do with maritime jurisdiction code. You can't mix and match it. You gotta abide by the law that's before the court. And the judge will say, that's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with the law that's before this court. Well, he'll say, the matter before this court. This has absolutely nothing. It's totally irrelevant. Keep it for something else. Now, if you wanted to establish a case and you wanted to bring in all these, you could bring in a Bible, you could bring in maritime law, you could bring any kind of nonsense. You could bring Ralph the Cabbage as your fearless God. You could bring every damn law according to Ralph the Cabbage into your court. The big trick is convincing that jury that you're not just totally freaking nuts. That this is the most ridiculous law I've ever heard. And he's just going to toss the win for the other side. But this is what I'm trying to say. It's not that defendants don't have rights. When you're operating under an administrative code, like as a U.S. citizen, that's a citizen or person established by code. When anything operates under a code, there's no such thing as rights in code. There's duties, obligations, privileges, and responsibilities. There's no such thing as a right. Only a man has a right. Everything else has duties, obligations, and privileges because everything else is established by a code.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I understand that.
Allow you to drag you in under some sort of a code, well, there you go. It's whatever rights that they established for you. Expressly those rights, not implied. They better specifically say what you can and cannot say. If it says that you can't say that, and you deviate one line from that script, you're an actor on that stage in their court. And if you get your line wrong, the judge will say, what the hell are you doing? You know what you can and cannot say. It clearly is expressly written in the code what you can and cannot do. And you're jumping out of your role as the defendant the way your script was written for you to perform under. You try to do that again, you're going to be in contempt of court. You got to maintain, the rules of the court, and you're not doing it. That's why I say to everybody, you say to them, look, I require leave of court to properly file a claim, to answer the claim before the court. Now, there is a claim before this court, right? And the judge, well, yes. I said, well, may I please see the claim so I can provide an answer to the court? And then he's going to have to give you a complaint. I said, that's not a claim, that's a criminal complaint. I want a claim, a verifiable claim. Where's the verifiable claim? Who's the lady who's going to sit across that in a box and point across the room and say, she seen me chop off O.J. Simpson's wife's head? Who's going to be the little lady who's going to point and say, I did wrong? You don't have somebody, then you don't have a case.